Thank you for participating in the Community Foundation Virtual Candidate Forum. Can you please briefly introduce yourself?
Absolutely. My name is Suzy Ageton, and I'm seeking re-election to the City Council. I want to start by thanking the Community Foundation for giving us this opportunity to talk. I've served on the Council for 4.5 years and am interested in continuing the work that has been started. In particular, I am focusing on fiscal accountability and on revenue stabilization. As many people know, we are struggling with the economic downturn and the loss of sales tax revenues to be able to continue to provide the quality services and programs that so many people want. So this is a main priority for me. I'm also focusing on human services. This is something that I care deeply about, and I know I'll get a chance to talk about that a little more later, but I hope you will vote for me and take a hard look at my record. You can see how I voted on issues and where I stand, and I welcome any kind of questions or comments from members of the committee always.
Tell us about your personal involvement with Boulder County's nonprofit community.
Well, I have lived in Boulder for over 40 years, so I have a pretty long involvement with the human services community. First, I guess I would talk about my time as a volunteer. I have served on a number of boards. I've been a member of Women's Health Board, and I've also been a member of the Attention Homes Board. I also was appointed to the city's Human Relations Commission and worked for a number of years on the issues and concerns that are brought to that particular body. But one of the main ways I have given my own personal service, other than through my years as a city council member, is as a CASA volunteer. These are court-appointed special advocates, work through the nonprofit called Voices for Children. And these are individuals who represent the interests of dependent and neglected children who appear in our courts. That has been a very satisfying experience for me. I would also add that professionally, I have a background in sociology and research, and I was the lead consultant for the City of Boulder in the mid-1990s, involved in developing the city's Human Services Master Plan. So that gave me a great opportunity to engage this community to understand the kinds of needs we have, projection for the future, where we might want to go in terms of services and programs. So I think I have a fairly good understanding. I've also consulted on other projects. I worked with the Latino Task Force, and I've also been involved with the Human Services Alliance. So I have a pretty strong involvement with the human services community, and that has always been a hallmark of my service on council, is ensuring that we continue as a city to provide support for this important set of services and programs.
The Community Foundation has identified a lack of diversity in representation both among elected officials and among nonprofit leadership. How can the city increase its inclusiveness, particularly in hearing from marginalized community members?
This is a challenging one for us, and it's something that this council, and in fact the council that I came on to in 2005, were working on. One of the things we have done since 2005 is to develop an immigrant advisory council, and the purpose of doing that was for precisely the basis of your question, and that is to allow individuals who don't have as much opportunity potentially to engage the city, to have a voice, to have their views, their needs, their concerns registered. But I think we need to go beyond that, because if we're going to build capacity and thereby bring a broader scope of people into our boards and commissions and onto the council, we're going to need to help that process happen. I would love to see us develop what I'm calling a leadership or mentoring or shadowing program, where we ask individuals who are interested to apply and have an opportunity to link one-on-one with a staff member in an area that they might be interested in, whether it's Parks and Rec, whether it's our open space program, whether it's our human services or our housing program, or if they're interested in elected office, to mentor with a council member. I think that's one of the best ways for people to learn about what those responsibilities and roles are like. And to me, that is something the Chamber has done a good job of in terms of building general leadership capacity in the community. And I know the foundation, Community Foundation, has done some work in this area. But I don't think the city has done as much other than an intern program within our city manager's office, to actually provide those opportunities. And I think that may be a way in which we could help, as I said, to build the capacity so that we would have more people applying for our boards and commissions and running for office who represent a different population or a different group that we know is part of our community.
What are your ideas on addressing volatile sales tax revenues, a portion of which is used to support local nonprofits?
You know, this is a really challenging issue. Cities depend on sales and use taxes as one of their primary sources. Roughly 40% of our general city revenues are tied to our sales and use taxes. One of the things I would do, and this came out of a recommendation from a Blue Ribbon Commission on revenue stabilization, would be to ensure that some of our sales taxes that are providing critical services will be extended. Many of them had sunset provisions on them, and yet they are providing what I would call core or basic city services. So to end them would be devastating to this community. We will have the opportunity this fall to vote on the extension of a 0.15 general sales tax. I want to encourage all voters to support that. This is not a tax increase. This is simply a continuation of an existing tax to fund, to a great degree, human services, but also facility maintenance, also taking care of other needs that the city has. So that's one idea. The other is to diversify our revenue sources. We need to move away from these volatile sales and use taxes. One idea would be to increase our accommodations tax. This is a tax on lodging, and it will fall primarily on folks who are visitors here. We have a little bit of flexibility there. We don't have a rate that is as high as some of our neighboring communities, so I think we could adjust without losing some of our competitiveness. But it would bring more needed dollars into our general fund to help fund the services that so many of us rely on.
Anything else you'd like to share with the nonprofit community?
I think the thing I'd like to share is to say a huge thank you, because this is such an important segment of our community. I don't think many of us can imagine a Boulder without the services of a community food share, or our Boulder homeless shelter, or Voices for Children, or the Emergency Family Assistance Group. There are so many. I've only named a couple. Attention homes, women's health. I mean, the list goes on and on. We are blessed in this community to have a large number of organizations that serve so many needs. And Boulder has always placed value on that kind of service. One of the things I would mention that I think a lot of people don't know is that the city does have a Department of Housing and Human Services. And that's a bit unusual. Many cities don't do that. I think it speaks to the values of this community, and I salute that. I salute the city for that, and I salute all the nonprofits for the work that they're doing in Boulder.
Thank you very much.